Hello, young people, teenagers. Thank you for coming back again and again. I believe you're doing well and you're enjoying some of these episodes. Some of you have sent those amazing messages and said, to me and saying, "Hey, Uncle, thank you so much for sending some of those episodes." And I may not be in touch with you, but I'm been watching it regularly. Thank you. I also have a WhatsApp group. If you want to be part of that WhatsApp group, please send out. I think I right now have about 195 young people and teenagers. I think there's some teachers and some parents also have joined. But if you want to be part of that group, just send me a message. We can send you a link, that you can be part of that group, right? Great. Today we're going to talk about something that's really, 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 really needed. What's that? The remove and replace principle. What's that remove and replace principle, Uncle? Today I see a lot of young people sending me messages and said, I was seeing certain things, I was listening to certain things. Now it's like, all over my head and I can't study properly. And, I've stopped it. I stopped watching it. I've stopped listening it, but it's still playing on in my head. That's the amazing ability of your brain, right? When you have seen something, even if you've seen a small clipping, even after about 20 years, 30 years, it still comes to you like a 70 a big screen, right? It comes to you that way. Yeah. So in a place of how we deal with some of those things in the mind, once you have watched it, it's still there. I wish there was a delete button. Control Alt Delete. Everything goes off, right? No, there's no delete button. It's a remove and replace principle, which means what? In that place of removing, you have to first stop, which you say, I have stopped. Which not just means that you stop watching it or stop doing it. You may have to even delete it and block certain those things from a place that you don't fall into it again. You can very easily fall into it again. I've seen several young people say, Uncle, I stopped it for about few weeks. I stopped it for about even few months, but suddenly I just fell into it. So you may have to totally close the door. Closing the door is part of the removing process. Closing the door is part of the removing process. 2, you need to start focusing that time and that energy into something else. Could be sports, could be a hobby, could be reading, could be writing, could be drawing, could be painting, could be in good friendships. I'm not talking about relationships, but good friendships. Somewhere you need to channel your energy. First is to block, if you have to block some of those things, and channel your time and your energy into something else. These two principles are very important. That is part of that removing journey. Now, will it happen instantly? I block it and immediately everything goes off. It's not going to go off. You must have heard me say this. Anything you feed, it's going to grow strong. Anything you starve is going to become weak. So in that removing process, you start starving. When you start starving, it will become weaker and weaker and weaker. Those images are still there. Some of those lyrics are still there. Some of those emotions are linked with it, still there, but it will become weaker and weaker and weaker because you're not feeding them anymore. So remove. 2 is replace it. You need to remove and replace. Now in that replacing journey, you need to actually fill your mind with the right things. You need to actually fill your mind with the right things, which means you are very good with music, you love music, start listening to good music. You're very good, on the internet doing things and all of that. You've put in some of those blogs and put in some of those filters. Use the time wisely and read the right things. You're very good, in people connections, but you've made a lot of mistakes. Get the right people into your life. You need to replace it. Sometimes, in my initial years, I have counseled like this, when in my 20s, I've always would just say, hey, replace, remove it and just walk away. And as you remove it, walk away, do something else. No, sometimes you can't do something else because your personality, your heart beats for music, right? Your heart beats for something, you know. I was in somebody's house, staying. I was not staying actually. I had just landed up in the airport, and I was just in their house, just getting ready so I can go and attend a memorial service. And when I was there in the house, I saw so many scribblings of one of their child, I think, a teenager who's no more a teenager, has gone out, scribbling in the walls and the cupboards. And some of those words were like, oh my goodness, was really deadly. Some of those words were absolutely, you know, there was one sentence that was written there in her cupboard, you know, in this teenager's cupboard, was like, I can't sleep, I don't know why am I even living, you know, or something like that, you know. I was just looking at that and said, so this person was struggling during that time. And did anybody reach out? Don't know. I don't know. So when I talk about replace, I'm not just simply saying throw everything off and just change things. If you're able to change things and focus on something else, great. But if you're not, get the right things and replace it. So if you're a very musical kind of a person, that's just one example. You're into wrong music, get into the right music. Get some right songs and spend time listening to some of those songs, you know, getting some of those lyrics in the right places, you know. So spend time. So the remove and the replace principle is an important principle. Now, in the remove and replace principle, it's like a funnel, right? This is the head, and the down part is the heart. Unless you do this right, you will get choked. There will not be much that will go into the heart. You need to do it right. The remove and the replace principle, do it right. It's like a funnel so that you can filter things as things start going into the heart. Have an amazing journey. You're amazing, and that's why you're here. You're very interested in your life, and that's why you're here. You're serious about your life, and that's why you're here. Love you. God bless you.